Well, it finally happened. We got that rain that I had been waiting for, and it was much needed. We've been getting small rains here lately. The problem is they've been, well, just very small rains. Nothing to soak into the ground or make it where I can go out there and run my tractor disc and bust that food plot up. And I'm already just about too late to get this going. We just got an inch of rain a little while ago. It's been sprinkling off and on all day long. I typically don't like discing right behind a heavy rain because it can get a little muddy and nasty, but it's rained enough throughout the day. I think it has slowly soaked in, and the ground's got to be better than it was the last time we attempted to bust it up. It was rock hard. So let's go get in the tractor. Let's bust up several acres of this food plot, turn it all under, and start getting ready to plant our dove food plot here. That'll still be a couple more weeks from now. All right, let's back in here and get hooked up to the Dirt Dog 200 series disc. I'll explain some nice features about this disc. I think it's one of the better discs out there personally for a compact tractor. There's some things you need to be looking at if you're shopping for your first tractor implements. All right, so like I said, this is my Dirt Dog 200 disc. No affiliation with them at all. Actually, my father bought this disc directly from him up in Georgia, and then I bought it from him many, many years ago. But it's by far one of the better compact tractor discs that I've come across. Full box steel frame. It's like 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch thick steel in the walls. You know, you're seeing 3/8 and 1/2 inch plate everywhere else. Just a really, really heavy disc. And what's also very important that a lot of people overlook with a compact tractor disc is the size of your blades. You'll see them coming like 16 inch, maybe 18 inch discs themselves. Well, this has 20 inch discs. Not only does that allow the disc to sink even deeper, they're more cupped, they're more aggressive. It just does a really good job of turning the ground over, because compact tractors already struggle as it is anyways with ground engaging equipment. You've got a lightweight tractor. Typically the equipment's going to be lightweight to match up to the tractor, and it just doesn't have the heaviness that it needs to sink into the ground, along with everything else being downsized. I have played the game of buying the little angle iron disc. I'll never buy another one in my life unless I have a really, really small tractor. But you want to get the weight and heft of a big boxed in unit just like this. And you still at times can even put weight on top, or you do like I do. Wait for a little moisture in the ground and it'll sink so much easier. You'll see today. We tried the other day after a drought and it was just packed as could be. Just get you a good inch or so of rain. Normally this will dig right in. How about that? I've been looking for my lost black wedding ring, and I just found it when I put my gloves on. Hilarious. Now here's one thing I brag about with this John Deere 4066R all the time. It's got buttons right here on the side, so you can do some things to set up inside where the tractor can't move fast, make it nice and safe. I can press and drive the tractor forward and reverse while hooking up. It makes hooking up so easy. A lot of people say I should get an eye match, and eventually I may, but I have some equipment that's not compatible with it. But in the meantime, this feature of being able to drive forward and back is so nice. Not to mention there is a wheel back here, and I can raise and lower my 3-point arms. So even when you have an eye match, a lot of times you have to get off, finish hooking up equipment, adjusting equipment, you're getting off the tractor anyways a lot of times. So I really like having these features on this R series tractor. So right now I need to pull the tractor forward. The pin is not gonna line up. I don't have to jump in and out of the cab, which is a bit inconvenient. Press this button, drive the tractor forward, watch the tire. And I'm pulling the disc with me. Looks like the arm's a little high, so I grab this wheel up here and lower the 3-point down just barely. Let's see if the pin will go right in. All right, here's the other cool thing. Now we can raise the disc up. We can get it nice and centered on the tractor and adjust our lower 3-point arms to lock everything in. And I can make adjustments on the discs themselves now that I have it up in the air, never having to get back on the tractor itself. Here's something else we should talk about. You see how I have these discs set? Right now they're in, so that is setting very aggressive. I can go one more setting. The more that you move the disc out where they're in a straight line, well, that means the disc, the cutting discs themselves, are just going to run in a straight line. They're just not going to do much cutting and turning of the soil. The more aggressive you turn them in, the more cupping action they get with the soil itself, and flip it and turn it over. That's what we're wanting to do out here. And you'll notice I have the front tilted a little further forward, although I'm way up in the air. When you're wanting to do some really aggressive cutting, I try to tilt my disc up and put more weight on the front disc and allow the back to kind of just feather out. Now, exact opposite, whenever I want to go out there and smooth the field, I'll put them discs back the way I said, and I'll level my set of discs out more where I'm getting contact with all of them, to where they're just kind of feathering the ground out as they go over, covering up all the deep ruts that I'm going to make today. All right, so we're coming out to my food plot here. The upper section is where I typically plant for deer. There's Ruger out there running dove like crazy. There's turkeys running out the back side of the field. That crazy dog chasing all my dove out of that field. I'm gonna get on to him about that. So this upper section up here is typically where I plant, you know, some peas, soybeans, things like that for deer. And this lower section down here that we're going to work today is where I plant some brown top millet for my dove this year. And I'm already seeing quite a bit of dove flying out of the field just because I showed in the last episode I planted that in winter oats last year for the deer, let it grow up, and now we just mowed all those oats down, so look at all the dove. There's seed for these dove already on the ground, and they're getting used to coming into this area. We also sprayed this whole plot off. You can see it's yellowed up. Now we're going to come out here and disc it in, and I like to disc in from corner to corner like you see I attempted last time. What that does is all the material that we mowed and laid over this direction, it's laid just like this, so now we're going to cut across it with a disc. That works really well for chopping it in and put some nutrients and all back in the soil, disturb the soil, allow some weed seed to come up. And we'll come back out here in a couple of weeks with all the fresh little seed that's coming up in the weeds. We'll disc it in again, kill that stuff off, and get ready to plant. All right, so we got those discs set nice and aggressive. We'll drop them on in. Let's pray this ground cuts up a whole lot better today, and it already is. Look at what a little bit of rain will do, turning it over beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. These discs do such a wonderful job. And for the people that are curious, I'm pulling this set of discs in medium range. We're running kind of fast, and I'm running it 2-wheel drive. As long as you have hard packed ground, this tractor has no problem pulling that disc in 2-wheel drive. Once we make our second pass over it and the ground's nice and soft, I have to lock into 4-wheel drive then, or you wind up spinning the tires. Run these discs down and keep going. Got a lot of work ahead of us today. Checking everything out, inspecting for me. And there's my buddy the cowbirds. Figured they'd be along here. Anytime they hear the tractor, they come flying in. Looks like there's several of them showing up. playing in all this rain and dirt. Look at it. It's cooled off with all this rain. You love it. He's probably probably gonna run 4 miles out here. What you think about it, buddy? You out of breath, all that running around, huh? All right, so really good progress. My goodness, we got a ton of those cowbirds out here today. So I decided to go ahead and make a second pass. Don't forget, originally we diagonally cut, and then I wanted to come back and do another pass. This is the way I typically plant, back and forth, north to south right here. So I want to go ahead and start throwing the dirt that direction, plus cross-cutting my diagonal. Once again, bust up even more root balls, turns things over, and just kind of feathers dirt out around even more. You can see I have these deep trenches because, well, it's just been raining. The dirt compacts. Typically, it doesn't hold those trenches as much whenever it's nice and dry, but we need to disc, obviously, whenever it's wet like this. So the next time I come out here, I'll probably spray this again in a couple weeks when all the new grass seed and stuff comes up. Weed seed and everything else that's out here. And then I'll set my disc really light. And I'll have to look and see if it needs to be turned under one more time, or if I maybe want to go ahead and risk putting some seed out and then disking it in. There's several different ways you can do it, but at least one more time, we're going to lightly set the disc, not having them in at such an aggressive angle. We'll put them straight forward, and that'll just kind of loosely feather and throw the dirt out and cover in all these ruts. And then we'll come back and just kind of pack everything in. I also welded a reese hitch on the rear of my disc right here, so I can actually pull my packer while I'm doing that with the disc to kind of do everything in one shot. So now we just wait a couple more weeks. You can see we've turned over all the grass. See all these root balls like that? Okay, get it, buddy. And we're gonna let all that stuff kind of dry and die. That's the whole point of doing this, busting all these root balls and everything up, turning weed seed under grass seed, killing stuff off, allowing new stuff to come, kill it off one more time. But it gives you a lot less competition in the field for the fertilizer that you'll put out, for the seed and plants that you want to come up. You don't have all this other stuff stripping the nutrients, the moisture, and everything else out of the soil. All right, the old John Deere 66 horse did good, and so did that set of disc. I mean, this doesn't look bad. This is the first time turning this over this year. This was some very hard packed ground right here and had a lot of root balls and grass in it. 2 passes, I'd say this looks excellent for a compact tractor. We're not talking no Ag Series tractor here, no big heavy duty thing pulling a gigantic heavy disc. So I'm very pleased at the results that I can get from a compact tractor out here in a field like this. All right, we got rain moving in. I just checked the radar, starting to look kind of nasty, like we might have lightning and all on the way. I better go get the tractor and disc cleaned up, get it under the barn, and it's time for some lunch. We'll catch you on the next video.